Hello, my name is Jessica Wandling, and this is the effects of various Coca-Cola products on boba bead rigidity. Boba beads are any sort of liquid encapsulated in a sphere-shaped polymer membrane that is able to pop when pressure is applied. They are made using a method called reverse spherification, where the liquid core is held together with alginate and the membrane is created from the interaction between alginate and calcium ions. The purpose of this experiment is to observe the effect of external parameters on the consistency of boba beads. Reverse spherification was performed on regular Coke, Coke Zero, and Diet Coke, with sugar as the main parameter being tested and how it affects the strength of the beads. Regular Coke has a high fructose corn syrup. Diet Coke and Coke Zero both have aspartame, but the ratio is not the same. The spherification method began by adding calcium lactate and xanthan gum to the soda to thicken it up. Once reaching the desired consistency for each Coke, a small scoop of the mixture was placed in the sodium alginate solution for around 5 minutes before washing them in water and placed to sit in the calcium lactate brine for ideally 35 minutes. 2 trials were performed on each Coke. The first trial was performed around 35 minutes, but unfortunately trial 2 had to be rushed by 10 minutes. The trial 2 beads were more fragile and therefore smaller. The regular Coke beads in the figure on the left show trial 1 and compared to trial 2. The regular Coke beads were always sticking together in the brine compared to Coke Zero. The brine bath time difference had an effect on the pressure test. So trial 1 beads were able to form a stronger and thicker membrane. The variation in results of regular Coke in trial 1 versus trial 2 were large. The other bead that produced from regular Coke was the trial 2 bead, and it had been attached to another bead in the brine which burst. So there was extra membrane hanging on the side, which most likely strained the other thin membrane, but it still had pressure test because of the lack of other surviving regular Coke beads. The big takeaway is the large similarity between Coke Zero and Diet Coke, performing nearly the same in the pressure test in both trial 1 and trial 2. The findings of Coca-Cola beads experiment tell us that the high fructose corn syrup in regular Coke can produce stronger beads than that in the artificial sugar aspartame. There are similar ingredients in Coke Zero and regular Coke that Diet Coke does not have. The main connection between Coke Zero and Diet Coke is aspartame. These conclusions were made on multiple assumptions. It is recommended that the experiment is repeated to ensure trials are performed under the same measurements like time and size for reliable results.